Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, welcome to week 5 of this course on Python programming. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Just a second. So, this week we have seen a number of topics. So, this week we have seen exception handling, input output, file handling, and string processing. And we are going to primarily focus on the standard input and output in today's session. So today is the fifth session. So this is a 8-week course, and we have finished already the first half of the course. So in the second half of the course, uh, we'll go one notch ahead. We will discuss uh, slightly advanced stuff. So I expect you to pay attention, and if you miss something in between, then it may be difficult to follow the remaining discussion. But that can happen, and if that happens, then you can raise your hand or unmute yourself and let me know so that I can repeat uh, what I said. Okay, so but before we start, is there any question so far what we have seen in the last 4 weeks? So this is a bit large question. So is this font good enough, or uh, do I have to make it larger?
Visible. It's
Visible.
fine.
Okay, so I will give you 4 or 5 minutes to read this question. So if you have read the question, then we will scroll down and see the format of the input, some sample input we will see. Mm. So I think all of you have read the question by now. So what I will do now is explain the question. So suppose you are the librarian in a library and you're maintaining three types of information. Okay, let's so maintaining the information about what books you have in the library. So to maintain that information, what you have is what is called accession number. So every book has a unique number assigned to it, which we are calling the accession number, and the title of the book. So for the books to be saved, to be recorded, you provide every book a unique number, which is called the accession number. And when somebody gives you the accession number, you can find out that book. Okay, so maybe there are five copies of the same book, but they should have five different accession numbers. Okay, so the accession number uniquely identifies a book. So that is the first set of information you have. The second information that you have is the number of borrowers. Okay, so not everybody is going to the library and borrowing books, but whoever is interested can borrow a book. And to be able to borrow a book, that person should register himself as a user. So then you will give an username to that person, and of course you will know the full name of that person. Okay, that is the second set of information. You know what set of books you have, and you know what are the people that are coming to the library to borrow books. Maybe multiple people have the same name, that is possible, but they should get distinct usernames. What is the third set of information? The third set of information is checkouts. So checkouts meaning that when somebody borrows a book from the library, you keep a record of that this book has been borrowed by this person, and this person should return the book by some due date. Okay, so for a checkout, you should keep these information: the username of the person who is borrowing, the accession number of the book that he's borrowing, he or she. Who has a question? Yes, Guna, if you have a question, please ask. Otherwise, keep yourself muted. Guna, okay. So for checkouts, we have three types of information. The person who has checked out the book, who has checking out means borrowing. Username of that person, accession number of the book that has been checked out, has been borrowed, and what is the due date? What is the due date by which this book should be returned? So you should keep these information for the library to function properly. All right. So once you have these data, once you know that, okay, so many books have been borrowed, so many books have been checked out, then as a librarian, you would like to know certain information in a summarized format. Okay, so that is the output. So how does the output look like? So the output should be a list of, it should be, I would say, a list means a table, let us say, I'm just using the English word, a table of records. So each record, just write it down. Each record, what is each record? Each record should be, uh, just give me a moment. Yeah, each record is like the following. It is the due date of a checkout, which is borrowed by some person, that person's name, the accession number of the book which has been checked out, and the title of the book that has been checked out. Okay, so I'll keep it in one line. Yeah, all right. So per checkout, you should have this data that what is the due date, what is the person who has taken it, and what is the accession number, and what is the title. And additionally, you would like these records. So additionally, keep these records sorted in increasing order of due dates. So you should know that which is the immediately due book, like what is due today should come before what is due tomorrow. Okay. So and if due dates are same, then they have another constraint. For books due on the same date, sort in increasing order of full name. All right. So additionally, for same due dates, sort in ascending. Ascending means increasing order of full names. So this is all we want to do. This is the question. All right. So any doubts or any uh, comments on what the question is about?
No.
Okay. So now take a minute or two and think how you would write a Python program. Oh, additional thing I have to tell you. How the input is given. So for example, here is input. So here is books. So first line is books, followed by the first line. There are this data about the books. So I have told you that the books has, every book has two parts. The first part is the accession number, and the second part is the uh, title of the book. So this accession number and title are separated by this symbol. This is called tilde. So this symbol is not very important. So this is a separator or delimiter between the accession number and the title of the book. So in this example, how many books are there?
7.
Thank you. So there are 7 books in the library. And once you have the books data completed, finished, exhausted, then you have the keyword borrowers. And as soon as you see this line borrowers, you know that the uh, subsequent lines are the data of the borrowers, which I have already said. So every borrower consists of 2 parts. One is the username and the other is the full name. So usernames should all be distinct, but full names need not be distinct. So we have so many borrowers in this library. And then we have the checkouts information. And what is uh, checkout information? It's a set of some values. The first part is username, that is who has borrowed the book. The second part is the uh, what is it? The accession number, right? DMT002. DMT002 means this book. Okay, so this is the accession number. And then there is the due date. Let me check if I've said the same thing here. Accession number and due date. So this is the data for checkouts. Okay. So now when all the checkouts information are done, then you have an additional string, which is end of input. So observe that this in this string end of input, O is capital and I is also capital. So these things have to be carefully noted so that you don't make mistakes while running the program or while writing the program. So you will be given such an input, but how will you take the input? So now it is specified how to take the input. Write a Python program to read the data as described above and print out details about books that have been checked out. But how to take data? Yeah. So in the first line itself, it says, second line, the relevant information is provided as text from standard input. So you have seen how to take data from standard input so far. So far in the last 4 weeks, we were taking input as hard coded within the program itself. Okay, in the program itself, we are writing the lists, the dictionaries, and so on. But here we are going to take input from the user. That is called taking from the standard input. If we take from some file, that is from the file input, but we are going to take from the user using standard input by prompting the user to give the input. Okay. So the user will give an input which is of this format. And once we obtain this input, we will call our program to run on this input, and we will generate an output like this, where every line has 4 parts. The first part is the due date. The second part is the person, the user who has taken the book, his full name, his or her full name. The third part is the accession number of the book. And the fourth part is the title of the book. So let us see if the data is consistent. So in the output, it says that the due date is 2019 14th March for the book APM 002. So we'll go to the checkout part. So there is a book APM 002 with this date, which is due date, and it is taken by this user whose username is slide2308. So slide2308 is corresponding to uh, Katie Bell. You can see this is slide2308, Katie Bell. So as a librarian, you would like to see the full name of the person rather than the username. So you are getting the data in convenient format that, okay, this person has taken this book by this title and should be returning the book by this date. So similarly, you can verify that the other outputs are also consistent with the data in the input. And additionally, the due dates are sort of in ascending order. So 14th March, 17th March, sorry, 27th March. So the to 27th March due date books are there, checkouts are there. In that case, what we will do, we are going to sort in terms of full name. So Bertram is starting with B and Hannah is starting with H. So Bertram comes first. Okay, first. What else should I say? Okay, so the date format is like this. So year followed by month followed by day, and the delimiter or separator is hyphen. So basically, this exercise is about how to process a lot of strings, a lot of text, okay, and how to take data from the standard input from the user. So I will give you some time to think about it. So first of all, try to think that, okay, so the first part is to process the data. Okay, so let me go to the whiteboard. So the first question is how to read the data or input. And once we read the input, how to store the input conveniently. So rather, what data structures should be used. Right? How to store the input means what data structures. Suppose I don't worry about the first question now. So suppose that we somehow figure out that how we can read the input. So the question is, once we have read the input, uh, what data structures shall we use? So the input has three parts: the books and the borrowers and the checkouts. So what data structure will be appropriate for the books?
A list.
Okay, we have seen that lists are helpful. So lists is an option. So if you have lists, then what will happen is, so the lists are indexed from zero. So let us say you have 500 books. So how do you store 500 books in a list? You have to store the title as well as the accession number. Both things have to be stored. So how shall we
Dictionary
store?
will perform this.
Yes. So another option is a dictionary.
You can go for dictionary.
By using dictionary.
Yes, yes, yes. So with dictionary, I can tell that, okay. So for example, I'll just give an example. So if I say that I have a books dictionary, then I can say books of some accession number, something. See, the dictionary can take some string also as a key. So for example, I don't know, sucks, I don't know, AMP03 is probably 0203 is probably the accession number of a book. And I can say that this title is okay, okay, I don't know. Uh, the last lesson. I don't know. So we can do such things. So we don't have to worry about how many books are there, because when new books are introduced in the library, we can give it a new accession number and we can update the books dictionary by inserting a new entry in the dictionary like this. All right. So dictionary is a good idea. How about the borrowers?
Same here also we can use dictionary most of.
Yes,
Okay.
dictionary can be used.
So what are the keys and values of the dictionary?
Keys are username and full name.
Yes. So because the keys have to be distinct. In the dictionary, all the keys have to be distinct. So usernames are distinct. So what we will do is we will use dictionary and we will say something like borrowers. Borrowers is the name of the dictionary. And we can add new values like, okay, so what is the username? I do not know. I am saying Sir Parsi. This is the username and whatever the name of the person. I mean, there should be full name, but anyway. Okay. So how about the checkouts? So now there are multiple one, two, three pieces of information that has to be kept. So dictionary is not a good idea because there are three information you want to keep three information. So maybe and see one person can take multiple books. So for that person there are multiple entries having the same username. So multiple checkouts can have the same username. Similarly, but accession number is unique. So for every book, the accession number is unique. So we can try to make a dictionary on the accession number as keys, but then we have to do certain things.
Can we use multiple keys like username and accession number?
Okay. Like,
I mean,
how do
we
you
can
use?
combine two keys together. Can we use it or not?
We might be able to do that. So, for example, we can make a string which is the accession number, and there is some separator, uh, and then there is a username. So that can become a key, and then we can say the due date. Yeah, this is one of the possibilities. Yeah, I mean, I cannot rule it out. But accession number in itself is unique. So one can try to, if we, I mean, I do not know whether dictionary is the right thing to do or not, but if we use dictionary, then for example, what shall we call it? We'll call it checkouts. And then how do you enter? You say that, okay, the accession number is something, AMP 03. It can become the key because accession numbers are unique for every book. And two persons are not allowed to borrow the same book at the same time. That is not allowed, which is there in the question, that we can assume that the data is consistent. We may assume that the data is internally consistent. So no book is simultaneously checked out by two people. Okay. Okay. So we can do such things. For example, this is, so maybe I can do a list, and so after that we keep a list. So we say that, okay, username, comma, I mean maybe so some username. So we can say Sarkar C, comma, then the due date. The due date is some dates. For example, this is 2025. So 2025 hyphen, let us say sometime in March. Yeah, sometime in March, let us say something like that. We can do such things. It's perfectly valid, isn't it? So this says that, okay, this person with username Sarkar C has checked out this book with accession number AMP03, and it is to be given back by so and so date. So we are able to store the data. This is just to warm up that what all things we can do as far as the second question is concerned, how to store the input. Any other ideas? So what we will do is we will look at the output. So what data structure will work best for us? That information will be determined by looking at what is the format of the output. So for example, we can see that the format of the output is a set of lines. Every line is of this format. So we have to print the due date, and let's look at, so due date followed by full name of the borrower, followed by accession number of the book, followed by the title. So let's look at how does the output look like. So this is the output. So they also say that the outputs individual parts should be delimited or separated by a symbol which is tilde. So it more or less with once we have this complicated kind of output, and we know that the output is sort of a set of lines. So every line is a string. So I think a more convenient way to keep the checkouts data would be in terms of a string or list, so that we have many things lined up together. Okay, so in a list we can keep many things lined up together. Since dictionary is more valuable when we have pairs of things, and there are clear ways of defining keys and values. But when that is not the case, and the output demands that we write a string, we print a string for every uh, checkout entry, maybe a string or a list kind of thing will be more suitable. So is the reasoning, I mean, you can do your own thing, but this is the reasoning behind why I would prefer a list or a string instead of a dictionary. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will not go for a dictionary for the sole reason that it is not easy to uh, uh, identify, or it is not easy to visualize the data as key value pairs. So the checkouts has multiple information. I will better go for a list. Okay. So what does the list look like? So I will just have this three information. On the other hand, I can also go for a string. So I think I implemented it as a string here, but as a list. So for example, let's do it for list. So if I want to do it for a list, so I will do it the following way. If I want to go for a list, then I'll say that, okay, so checkouts. So one by one I'll do. So for the 0th index, when I uh, uh, read the first checkout line, whatever I check, I get. So what is the format? I will get the data in this format checkout. So I will get this kind of a thing. So I will first check the delimiters. So I'll say, okay, this is my first part. So this thing, comma, this thing, comma, this thing. So I'll make a list like this. So what I'll do is, so first part. So first part will be something. So I'll just call it first. So first, comma, second, comma, third. So I'll have a situation like this. But we can also do it with string. But anyhow, so let's not worry about too much about how the real implementation is going to be. But this is how I am going to process the problem when I'm going to look at it. Okay. So we have more or less taken care of how we shall store the input. So the second part is done. So now there is a third part. First part we will see. First part we are not worrying about now. So there is a third part. The third part is how to display the output. or rather, so we have to display the output in this particular format which the question demands. But how we shall implement? So how to implement displaying the output? So we know how to, what is the format? What is the format of the output is known to us. It is precisely uh, given in the question. But how shall we implement it? For let us see what is the question saying. Yeah, so the output should be listed one by one. These four pieces of information: due date, full name, accession number, and title. But they demand that its format should be like this: that these four pieces of data should be delimited or separated using this symbol tilde. Okay, so basically I have to produce. Oh, this is a error. It should be tilde. They have given a hyphen here, but it should be tilde. Yeah. Oh no, no, so wait. Oh, this entire thing is the last part of the data. So let's see, advanced portion making. Yeah. So this is the title. So this is all right only. So there should be three tildes in each line. Three tildes are already there, and the last part is the title of the book. So that is the expected output format. So we have to generate lines, means we have to generate strings. So how we shall implement? Uh, Sorry. Yeah, how we shall implement displaying the output is uh, as strings. So for now I will be very vague and say that as strings, and probably as strings, probably with a loop. Probably we'll need a loop for every line that we want to print. We need a loop as strings with a uh, loop. Okay, so this is the overall plan. So this is what we will, so this is the ideation of the problem solution. So from ideation we'll go to implementation. Okay, so any questions on the ideation?
No.
Okay, so now we are going to see how to implement it. Okay, so first part is how to read the input. Okay, so for example, in this case, when we are using this platform, one compiler, I'm going to Python. So there is a standard input. See, this is std in. I'll make it slightly larger. So there's on this side, on the right side, you can see there is std in. There I can provide input for the program. Okay, so when you do it in a terminal, so you do it with asking the user that what input you want to give, and the user gives the input, and then you do the processing. The same thing we're going to do, but with a much simpler UI based platform, nothing else. So the data, the input is not hard coded in the program. So you're not saying that okay, stuff is, we're not saying that okay, so the first book, I'm not saying such things that the first book is so and so. See what is the data like. So for example, this is the first book. So it is not given as a string. All right. So the first book is not given as that. So these information is not hard coded. So when the information about the input is inside the program itself, then we say the input is hard coded. When it is not the case, then we say the input is to be obtained from the user, from the standard input, or from some external source. For example, from some text file. Okay. So we are going to just simply get the input from the standard input. So what I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this input, sample input. Sorry. Okay. So Control C or Command C. I copied this. I'm going to paste it here. Okay. So you can see that the entire data is pasted here. Okay. Okay. So this is the data we're going to take from the, we know that this data is being given by the user. All right. So now this is like step one. So look at the ideation. The step one is taking the data, we have taken care of it. So now step two is how to store the input. What data structures to use. So we have already decided what we are going to do. So let me just implement that. So we said that for books that are in the library, we are going to take a dictionary. So what is this for? This is for storing the books information. All right. What is the second thing we're going to do? We have the borrower's information. For that also, we decided that we'll take a dictionary. This is for storing the borrower information. Okay. So for checkouts, we said that we will take a string or a list. So let us say, let us go by lists only, or because we have seen lists. So this is for storing the checkouts. So far, so good. Okay. So now we have to process this input. Okay. So here I'll have to tell you a few things. Okay. So how we are going to process this data is that we are going to read this data line by line. Okay. So we should have some mechanism to be able to read data one line at a time. We cannot read the entire data and process it. We are going to read one line at a time. Okay. So the first thing is, when we see the first line is books, then we know that the subsequent lines are data for the books, and these have to be processed and stored in our dictionary called books. Okay. And when shall we know that the lines corresponding to the books information is over? So how to know that uh, what is the last line where we have books information in the input?
Defensive magical theory, DMT
Yes,
002.
yes. But how do you know that? Because maybe there is another line, something we don't know. There could be another thing, for example, I know. Uh,
Borrowers.
When from giving the input.
yes. So I added one more. So TLT 001. This is another book. New book has been added. So we, as soon as we see that there is a line which is borrowed, we realize that the information for the books is exhausted, and now the borrower's information will start, and then we will uh, know that okay, our dictionary called books is now constructed. It requires no more modification. We have all the books data stored in this books information dictionary. Then we will process the following lines till what?
Before checkouts. Checkouts.
Yes. So as soon as we see checkouts, we have to know that okay, now this other dictionary which was storing the borrower's information is also completed, is also ready, and needs no more information, and we keep going, and we will uh, also process the checkouts information and fill this list called checkouts till we see this last line which is end of input, because at this point we will know that there is nothing else to do, and then we can start processing and generate the output of it. So let me also write the output that we want to generate. So the output that we want to generate is of this type, but it should be like multiple lines depending on how many checkouts has happened. So remember that if there are 5 checkouts, then there are 5 output lines. So the number of output lines is equal to the number of checkouts. So this output we want to generate. Okay, so at this point, maybe I will just tell you how to process line by line, because we are going to take a break, but I will tell you how to process data line by line. After that, I will give you some time and you can fill the remaining lines of the program. So let me tell you how to read data. From the standard input line by line. So whatever is in the standard input, so this under stdin, this part is going to be stored in a construct called input. So input, this thing is going to store uh, uh, the entire standard input. Okay. So when we will say input dot strip, so this is a function which will, what is the use of this function? So it looks at the particular line being read in the input, and it strips, or rather stripping means removing the white spaces, or rather white space also could mean the end of line, okay, from the line which is being read at that point. Okay, so this, if I store it in some position, so I'm going to call it my current line. This is my current line. Okay, so my current line is this, the first line. So when I do this thing, then I get uh, uh, the first line. Okay, so this as a whole, we'll see if it works. See, the first line it has read. So what is the first line? First line is books, and with this we are able to get the first line. Okay, so when we will read the next line, we'll get the next line. Okay, this way. So you understand how to read data from stdin line by line.
Sir, I have a suggestion.
Okay, go ahead.
Sir, the input is given as some sections, like books is one section, borrowers is another section, and checkouts is another section. So we can give one for loop, and we can read line by line. If the line equal to books, we can give the all inputs under the books section to the dictionary called books. And if the line reading borrowers, uh, the inputs under the borrower section, we can give to the borrowers dictionary. And can we do like that?
Yes, we can definitely do like that. We can run one single loop, and we can run within the loop. We have to be able to fill these three data structures, two dictionaries and one list. We should be able to fill, and after that we should be able to run another loop, so that while processing this checkouts list, we should be able to generate a set of strings which is of this format. For every entry in the checkouts uh, list, we should be able to generate a single line like this, and that we are going to output.
Okay, sir.
So far I have given you the tools and uh, accessories for you to be able to write this program, and I will do one thing. I will give you the input in the chat box. You can try to fill the remaining part of the program, and during the break. So this is the input. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to give it to you. I didn't see the chat box for some time. Some people, it's some, yeah, fine. Here is the input, and here is the sample output. So you try to process this input and generate this output. Okay. So at this point, you have all the data required, and you also know that how to get started. So at this point, I will give you 10 minutes so we can take a break for 10 minutes and be back by, so it is 6:57. We can be back by 7:07 p.m. Okay. So anybody has tried to do anything?
Sir, I am doing this code in VS Code. How can I give the entire input as one at a time? Like you gave in STDIN, no
Hmm.
sir, input.
Okay, you have to ask from the user, like you have to ask from the user. So you have to say like input within bracket enter something, and then you type it out, or rather in VS Code you can copy paste also, I think, and press
Ah,
enter.
I did same thing, but at a time I am able to write only one line, like books only. After that, I should give again input. It is not taking at a time total. Giving warning and
Okay,
error.
okay. So better to do when there are so many lines, better to take input from file so that you can read the file. File handling is better. But as per this question, we should be doing it from standard input, the way I have done. But I do not know how to do what you were saying in VS Code, multiple lines. I was expecting that with copy paste you could give multiple lines as standard input.
Yes, sir, I did the same thing. It is giving error while giving
Okay,
multiple
okay.
lines.
I don't know how to fix it immediately. You have to find it out, or I can tell you maybe later after finding it out. But you can try this platform for now,
Okay,
onecompiler.com.
okay, sir.
So yeah, I mean maybe 10 minutes is too small a time. Maybe I'll give you some more time. So it's 7:10. So let's say we give you 5 more minutes. So you spend some more time because it's not important that I give you the solution.
Sir, can you show me the problem? I joined late. I didn't see the problem itself.
Okay. So the sample input and sample output you can see from the uh, chat box. In the messages of this meeting, I have pasted the sample input and sample output.
Okay.
And the question is what you can see in the screen.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Manal is asking, why are we using current line? I don't understand the question. You're worried about the current line name, or you, why are we using current line? No, if you're worried about the name, then we can call it next line. That's not a problem. We're just processing reading data from the standard input line by line. So you can call it next line if you like. The name is not a problem. The name is not sacred. I, if that is the question, if the question is something different, please let me know. So why are we reading data line by line? Because we're not able to read the data at one go. You want to process line by line for convenience. Anybody has any comments to make, like where they're stuck? What is the issue they're facing? Is there anybody who could print the data input line by line?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I tried, but it is showing that the program did not output anything.
Okay. So you
I
could not
used a
print.
for loop for processing input.
Mhm. So forget processing, like this input is a set of lines starting from books. So could you print this input itself, like a for loop or whatever? Could you print this input? That is the first thing.
Sir, I have taken that current line is not equal to end of line, and
Okay.
I kept in that inside the loop next line equal to input dot step print next line, and I
Mm-hmm.
printed the entire.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you were able to print at least. Okay.
Yes, but
Great, great.
I'm confusing on how to store that in dictionary, sir, in books borrowers.
So for books, what are the keys for storing books information? So let's do that. I will just write it here maybe. So the key is the accession number. So the accession numbers are distinct. So key should be accession number. So
Yes.
when you process a line, for example, this line, advanced, this thing. So this part is the value and this part is the key. So you can simply say books within square braces, this accession number, which is equal to the title. So you should be able to extract out the title of the book and the accession number of the book, and then you can do it. That book's accession number is equal to the title.
Okay.
Okay. So I will give you. So it's. I understand that whoever has been able to print, I am sure that person will be able to generate the output. So printing the lines is very important. That is the first step. So I will give you two nice functions, ready-made functions in Python that make our life easier. So two parts are necessary. So let me give you two more things. So one function is the find function on strings. So what it does is it checks for the existence of a substring within another string. Okay. So when we are processing the lines, so to identify that which is the book section, we should know that when does the line borrowers come. So for whenever there is a line, for example, here borrowers is here. So whenever we know that borrowers is the content of this line, we should be able to close, terminate the books section of the input. So for that purpose, the find function will be very useful. So I will show you. So for example, I'll give an example. So I'll take an example. So any name. So names are not sacred. So I'll just say sample string. You can call it any string. I don't care. Or you can call it whatever you like. Should not be a keyword. Okay. So let's call. Let's say I am. So what shall we say? We're saying that we are in a PS session in NPTEL. Okay. So this is a string, and I want to check whether within this string the word NPTEL appears or not. Then what I will do, I will say, okay, let me print it. So I will ask that whether, okay, let's copy this string name. So string dot find. What are we looking for? We are looking for this substring NPTEL. So if NPTEL is there, is part of this string, then the position of this substring NPTEL will be printed by this function. Okay, so I'm going to hit run. So that at 24th position, you can see this NPTEL it has found. For example, if I look for NPTEL 1 and run this program, it says -1. That means this NPTEL 1 string is not found at all. For example, if I say session or if I say ses and run, it says, okay, I found it at the 13th position. So this is a very useful function. You understand how this function is to be used.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is one thing. So this is the find function on strings to search or look for a given substring. This will be useful. This is one thing. Another thing I'll give you. What else shall we require? Yeah, so we will require. So see the way the data is given to us. So something is followed by something. For example, how the checkouts information is given to us. So there is an accession number, or rather, this is the username of the borrower. Then there is a delimiter. This is tilde. Then there is an accession number of the book. Then there is again tilde, which is the delimiter or separator. What happened? I think okay. And then there is another string, which is the date. So if I want to be able to extract out the individual pieces, then I should be able to tell that where are the positions of these delimiters. So I should run a loop and I should check that whenever there is a delimiter, one portion of the input is exhausting. So that's a cumbersome activity, but we will do it in one go, one line, one shot. So how to do that? So there is this function on strings called the split. There is a split function on strings. to split based on a delimiter. And I'll give an example. For example, any string, we don't care about the name. Okay. Arbit name. Okay. So let us say our delimiter is tilde. So I'm going to say, how are you? Friend. Okay, this is my string. So based on this delimiter, I want to extract out the different elements, okay, of this string. The string name is not much of an importance. Okay, so I know that within this string there are 4 parts. So since I know it, so I'm going to do the following. So I'm going to say dot split, and I'm going to split with respect to the delimiter tilde. Okay. And I know that there are 4 parts to it. That's why I'm going to be very sure, and I'm going to say that, okay, the first part is 1, the second part is, you can give your own names. We generally give names which are easy to remember, which are meaningful. That's why I'm giving meaningful names now. It need not be called 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we will print. Let us say I print 1 first. Let us say I print 1 comma 2, means 2 things. We'll see how it works. So how and R are printed. So you understand. So within, we'll do it. Let's do 1 by 1. So I have been able to split things quickly. That's what I want to demonstrate. Why am I calling it third? Okay, let's call it 3. Does not matter. See, 1 by 1 I've been able to extract these 4 parts which are delimited or separated by our symbol tilde. So this is very useful. So do you understand the use of this function split on strings?
Yes, sir.
So now I give you a few more minutes. So I mean, maybe I'll just write the program. So once you are able to extract the lines, then the game is 90% done. Then only 10% easy stuff is remaining to use these 2 functions, find and split. Okay, now I'll write the program, but I'll give you a minute or two to think that how one should proceed after this. Then I will write the program. Maybe you can share your thoughts with me after 2 minutes. Then we'll write the program. So how am I going to use these two functions to generate an output like this? So we'll see. Okay. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to identify that keyword books, in which line we have to. So in this case, we can see in the first line itself we have books. Maybe the first line was something else. Then we have to inform the librarian that there is an issue. Okay. So first thing is to identify that in the first line or in some line to start with, we have the word books. Okay. So I will write it, what we want to accomplish. Sorry, we'll write it here. So we have read the first line. I'm calling it next line, but it is the first line because somebody said, why are we using the word current line? Doesn't bother. We can call it anything. We can call it elephant. We can call it donkey. It doesn't matter. So next line contains the first line of the standard input. Okay. So, and we have seen that this is books right now, but we have to check. So we want to check that where find the line where books, this string books appears. Okay. So to do that, what I'm going to do, while next line dot find, I'm going to find, I'm going to use the function find that we have already seen. What are we looking for? We're looking for books. Okay. So next line dot find books will return the position of books in a line if uh, books is there in the line. Okay. In that string. But if it is not there, it returns -1. So if it is not there, then we will go below. So if it is not there, so while it books is not found in the given line, we go to the next line. Okay, while next line dot find books is not returning -1 at that point, what we do, I mean, we have to go the colon also. Then we go to the next line. We read the next line. So to do that, what are we going to say? We are going to say next line is equal to. We go to the next line, that is input again dot strip. Okay, so this is going down to read the next line. So far, so good. So any doubts on what we have done here? We're just looking for where is books. First line we didn't get it. We go to the next line and keep doing that. That's why we have a while.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, why this is next line dot find books is less than 0? Why it is less than 0, sir?
So what is the return value of next line dot find? Suppose, so this is all our imagination now. Suppose next line is equal to Rameshwaram. All right. And I call on next line this function find books. Then what shall I get? This returns what? Returns what value? I have shown you like before going to the break. Did I show you before going to the break? No, after.
0, 0, I think 0.
No, it is -1. We have shown that if the substring is not found, then it returns -1. If it is
Okay, sir.
found, then it returns a position. It returns a position where it is found within the string.
Okay, sir. When we found books, then it will return 0.
0.
Index. I
Yes.
think.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
It can return anything 0 or more than that. but not -1. That's why we were checking. It is, we can make it less than equal to -1 if you like. This will also work.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. So we are looking for books, and when we find the first line where we have books, then we have to skip that line. So that line needs to be skipped, and we need to build the books dictionary next line onwards. Okay. So at some point we'll get books. In fact, we'll get books in the first line itself. At that point, we have to skip the line containing books, because that is not going to contain the books information at all. So how do you do that? We just go to the next line. So I'm going to say next line is equal to the same thing. Input dot strip. Strip means removing the white spaces. So now at this point, I'm sure that I have come to the line that contains the information about the first book. That is the accession number followed by the title of the book. Okay. So now at this point, we have to extract out that what is the uh, accession number and what is the title of the book. But we do it in a loop. We will do it in a loop, and we keep processing the lines followed by books till the point we don't see borrower. So again, we'll make use of the find function. We'll keep going to the next line as long as we don't find borrower. When we find borrower, we have to stop and we have to uh, go to the next phase of processing the input. Okay. So at this point, we are beginning constructing books dictionary. Okay. So again, we'll do the same thing. So we'll check while next line does not contain the word borrowers. Borrowers is capital or small. See, borrowers is, you have to be very careful. So we have to do the exact correct, you have to give the exact correct spelling, including the case. So while next line does not contain borrower, that means less line is it's less than equal to -1. We read the next line. But first, we have already read the first books information, so we have to use the split function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define a variable called accession number and define a variable called title, and these two things going to be extracting out from the line with the help of the split function. So what are we going to split on? What is the delimiter?
Tilde.
Yes. So what it will do, it will read this line. So it knows that tilde is here. So to the left of tilde is the accession number, to the right of tilde is the title. So it is going to give me these two things separately, and it will store these two things into these two variables. And then I will use these two variables to construct the books dictionary. So at this point, how shall we add these two data in the books dictionary? Anybody?
Book's accession number is equal to title.
Correct. So you have understood so far what I have said. So now for every line, I will keep on building this books dictionary. So at some point we will stop. When shall we stop? When we will encounter this line named borrowers. So at that point, this check will become uh, uh, true. So borrowers will give -1. So we get something which is less than equal to -1. Then the loop will get terminated. The loop will get terminated. Then we will go to the next phase of our processing. But when the loop gets terminated, at that time we have to skip this line, borrower's line. This line has to be skipped. Oops, sorry, what happened? It's very difficult. This okay. I think we are back. Yeah. So what we have done here is we have built the books dictionary. Okay. So now I'll slightly speed up. So what is the next thing I have to do? So I have to skip this line. So again, same thing I'll do. Skip the line containing borrowers. Okay. So I'll copy this. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to skip the line containing the word books, borrowers now. Borrowers I have skipped. We're beginning to construct the borrowers dictionary now. So now I have gone to the next line. Again, now I will have the borrowers data till the point I get this checkouts line. So now I'll do the same thing. So I will try to find whether the next line contains, in fact, the current line, I'm calling it next line anyway, it doesn't matter. Whether this contains the word checkouts. This is the second part. This is for constructing the borrowers dictionary. So you have to be very careful. What is the spelling? Capital CHECKOUTS. If it is -1, that means we have reached that line. So as long as it is not -1, we will keep splitting on tilde. But now left side of tilde is the username. No, sorry. We are where? We are here, no? Yes, left side of the tilde is the username. Right side is a person's name. So instead of accession number, I'm going to call it username. The other side is what? Let's call it full name of the borrower. Okay. So now what shall we do here in this line? So how are we going to construct the borrower's dictionary at this point? Anybody?
Borrower's username is equals to full name.
Okay, thank you. You have understood what I have said so far. There's no rocket science here, but at least you're, attentive and focusing. So now,
But sir, checkouts is not a dictionary, sir. But it is list, sir.
so we are not worried about checkouts at this point.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir.
We are constructing the borrower's dictionary. So we are beginning to construct the borrower's dictionary. So we are using the checkouts.
Okay, sir. Get it.
So this checkouts is just for checking. Before checkouts only, the borrower's information is there. So now we will take care of the checkouts information. So we have to use this part, that as long as I don't see end of input, I will use this while loop. First of all, when we have encountered checkouts, I have to skip that line. So what I'm going to do is going to copy the same thing. Okay. Another while loop. Before that, we skip the line containing the word checkouts. Okay, we are beginning to construct the checkouts list. Now we are constructing the list, not the dictionary. Okay. So what are we going to do? As long as we don't see end of input, end O capital F I N P U T. As long as we don't see end of input, I should be capital, very careful. We will, so now you see, we are going to split on delta, but there are three things. So what are these three things? This is the username, the person's name who has borrowed. This is the accession number of the book that has been borrowed, and this is the due date. Okay. So I'm going to write the same thing, username followed by accession number. What happened?
It went to the input, sir.
Okay, okay. So username, comma, accession number, comma, the due date. I'm going to make a variable called dues underscore date. Fine. So here I will now, so the split function will give us this separate things separately, and we will be able to store it in these three variables: username, accession number, and due date. So now remember, we are not dealing with dictionary anymore. So now we should build this checkouts, this thing list. So what are we going to do in the checkouts list? So basically we will so we will use the fact that per checkout I need to see one line in the output. So let us see what is the output. Where is the output line? I had written the output line somewhere. So the output should be of this format: due date followed by full name of the borrower followed by accession number followed by title. So per checkout, what all data I have? Per checkout, I have the user name, I have the accession number, and I have the due date. So due date, accession number. So two things I have to extract out. So due date I'm getting directly per checkout entry, and accession number of the book I'm getting directly. Full name of the person I have to get. Okay. And what else? The title of the book I have to get. So how we shall get the full name is using the username. So using the username, we can get the full name by using the borrower's dictionary. So here, while processing each line of this checkouts information, we will create one line of the output. So I'm going to write it, then we will discuss. So I'm going to create a variable called checkout line, or maybe I'm just going to call it the output line. Okay, let's call it output line. So this is equal to, so what is the format? Due date. So due date. So due date I'm getting directly. See, due date is already in the input. This is the due date. It's in the checkouts format. Due date followed by, they are demanding a tilde. So I have to give a tilde. So I have to give a tilde. So I'm going to say plus, that means this is string appending tilde. I'm going to say plus. Next thing what they want is full name. Full name, how shall I get? From the username itself, I can get the full name. So what should I write here? I want to create this output line. Due date I have already got. Then I have given a tilde. Now I want to obtain the full name, but I have access only to the username. But using this username, can I get the full name?
Borrowers of username.
Yes. So borrowers already is doing that. Borrowers has been defined for that purpose only. So borrowers give the key username, it will give the value full name. That is how we have saved. Okay. See, you consider line 18. So line 18 is for this purpose only. Okay. plus again a delimiter tilde, that is a
Soft
demand.
title.
Please come again.
No, sir, I'm saying that.
Okay. So what is the next thing in the output format? Accession number. Accession number I have got directly. I'm going to say append, I mean this concatenation accession number plus what they want, another tilde followed by title. So another tilde plus how do I get the title?
Books of title.
Yeah, books of no, I have access to the accession number. So books of accession number.
Books of accession.
Accession number is already within my reach. So this is the end of this line. It's going outside. Let me push this thing slightly outside so that you can see the full thing. So here I have generated one output line for each checkout line. Per checkout line, I have one output line. And this I am going to store in the checkouts list. So remember, I have defined this checkouts list for storing the checkouts, but rather I will use this for storing the outputs. You can give different name, doesn't matter. So I'm going to say checkouts dot append, and this is a string, so a string can be appended. So I'm going to append this output line. So per checkout line, I have been able to write one output line in the prescribed format of the program. And then I have to go to the next line, of course. So I have to go to the next line. So I'm going to go. Oh, in the previous while loop, I didn't go to the next line. In those two while loops, I am sorry. These two while loops, I have to go to the next line. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So it means the next line has to be updated, right? So it has to again go to the next line by scanning the input. Similarly, here also, after we have generated the borrowers, we have constructed the borrowers data structure. I have to go to the next line. So update next line to input dot strip. Okay, similar thing we're going to do here also. I have to go to the next line, otherwise the loop cannot progress to the next line. I have to update the next line. Yeah. So now in the next line, I will be able to process the next checkout and so on till we hit end of input. When you hit end of input, then this while loop will get terminated. Okay. So when this while loop is terminated, then I will output all the output lines. All the output lines are here in the checkouts list. So then I have to write
Print.
yes, I have to print, simply print. So I'll use a for. I'll say for line in checkouts. I am going to print what line. See, the word line is not important for like any line. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I say O line, output line. So the naming of the variables is unimportant. So I think this is the end of the program, but let me verify it once again.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, instead of giving the checkouts list, you given the each output line because that is how you want the output. Like that, you made the list.
Yes, I thought that
How,
it is shortcut.
yeah, that's good. A good one. How you got the idea? That's a good one.
Uh, so what I could do is I could create a list here called checkouts, and then I have to process this checkouts list containing these three information part checkout, and I have to generate this kind of output anyway. So this what I have done here, I could have done here also. Okay. So in that case I would have to uh, uh, whatever I have done here, this line 26, I would have to do here.
Yes, sir. Yes. Because I didn't thought of your way of thinking, so it's a good one, I think.
Okay, but both things are equivalent. There is not
But
much
the
of a
number
difference.
of lines of script will be increased. The how you can shorten the script, that will be good one, I think. It's a good idea.
Yeah, you have to generate. So maybe if you want to make a list uh, of these three things, then you may have to use a for loop here for appending. But even for loops can be written in one line in Python, which I have not shown you. For loops need not be written like this. It can be written in one line, but that is another topic which I will show you sometime in the coming
It was
sessions.
using list comprehension.
Sorry.
We can write in one line using list comprehension.
Yes. We can do many kinds of shortcuts in Python, but since we are sort of going to the advanced things slowly, we have just come to the fifth week, so the second half of the course. Slowly, we are going to see some more shortcuts and how to write code more compactly in Python. So I think this is good. I'm going to hit on the run button. So see, we have got the data. So there's one issue. What is the issue?
Sorting, we have to, for the same due date, we have to sort alphabetical order.
Yeah, that is fine. But 14th March is coming later than 27th March. Even 4th March is coming later. So you have to do sorting. So how shall we do sorting? We have seen this, how to do sorting. So we have to make some changes in these two lines, 29 and 30.
Sorted, we have to add.
Where 29 or 30?
30.
30.
See, when you have to sort, you have to sort what? So what we can sort on a list. Okay, so this is not a list. So O line is just a string. Okay, so this is the output line.
On 27 line.
So this is only a string. So when you say sort the string, it will be terrible. But you can do that if you like. This is what you are suggesting, no?
Yeah.
So it has sorted, but the strings, and it is
Yeah.
not making sense. But what we have to do is we have to sort the entries in the checkouts list. So the checkouts list has basically become the output list. Okay, the name doesn't matter. So we have to sort checkouts. So we have to say checkouts equal to sorted checkouts, or in one shot, we can just say sorted in the loop itself. So sorted in the sorted checkouts, you print the lines one by one. This will work, isn't it?
Sir, I have one confusion. In line number 29, you said in for loop we can give. So, for outline in sorted of checkouts is the same as that of for outline in checkouts dot sort. That's two are same or different?
We'll see. Let's run this. So this is now correct. 14th March, 27th March, and 3rd April, 3rd April, and all that. So 227 March, Bartram starts with B, Hannah starts with H. So Bartram is before H, and so on. So this is working. So you want to say something else, like you want to say sorted here like this.
No. Checkouts dot sort we can give.
Like this.
Yes, sir.
We'll see that. What it is saying. It's saying that none type object is not iterable. So on a list, sort is not defined.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So if you want to sort the elements of a list, then you say sorted, and within bracket you provide the list as parameter. So this is the expected output, I believe, but we can verify. So Katie, Bertram, Hannah, Stewart. This looks correct to me. There are two Hannahs. One is 27th March and the other is 3rd April. They have same books but different accession numbers. Okay, so at this point we have generated a toy library management system in Python in 30 lines. So I thank you for joining this session today. So this is the end of the session. So I'm here for a couple of more minutes. If you have any questions, doubts, we can talk. Otherwise, the session has ended officially.
Sir, if possible, can you please explain me once again that how are you giving the condition in while and how you're skipping the lines like
Okay.
books, box?
All right. Fine. So let us first see what is the format of the input. So the input starts with a line with the word books, and then subsequently there are information about the books till we have a line with the word borrowers. So that means between the word books and borrowers, I have all the information of the books in the library. All right.
Yes, sir.
Similar thing is happening subsequently between the word borrowers and checkouts. I have all the information about the people in the library who are the subscribers or borrowers, their names and their usernames. Similarly, between checkouts and end of input, I have the data corresponding to the checkouts. That means which book has been taken by whom and what should be the return date, due date. So I'm saying that we are going to process these data line by line. So to do that, I have this function which is strip. This is input. So it input reads the current line of the standard input. And then I'm saying dot strip to get rid of the white spaces. Okay, that's not too important, but the point is input is containing the current line or next line of the standard input. That means this one. So to start with, I'm going to check that when shall we hit books? Are we going to hit books or not? So far we have, so this line, this while loop, first while loop, it is asking in plain English that you keep on going to the next line, you keep on processing the immediate next line as long as you don't see the word books. So in the first line itself, we're going to see books. So this while loop condition will fail. So we are going to come here. So at this point, when we are reading, we are going to see books. So when at this point we are reading the first line, remember. So it has, the while loop has determined that in the first line itself we have books. Okay, but when we are coming out of the loop, then we are reading the first line itself. That's why you have to skip this line containing the word books. That's why I'm going to the next line. So this line number 11 is skipping the next line. So before line number 11, we were processing the line containing books. Whenever we had line number 11, we are going to this line. I'm updating what we are processing.
Yes, sir.
So at this point, the next while loop comes. The line number 12 is saying that keep going to the next line and do all this processing, line number 13 and 14, as long as you do not see the word borrowers in the line you are processing. So I'm not going to see the line borrowers ever before processing these lines. So for each of these lines, I am going to extract out two information. What is the accession number and what is the title of the book based on every line. And then we are going to the next line. Similar thing is happening in this while loop as well. So as long as I don't see the word checkouts in my line, I realize that the data that I'm processing is in fact the borrower's data. But before that, I have this line. So this is to skip. So before the 17th line, I am on the line that contains the word borrowers. After I have written the 17th line, so next line is going to contain some borrowers information, and then I'm going to go into the loop and I'm going to process all the borrowers as long as I don't hit the checkouts line. Once we hit the checkouts line, we have to do the same thing. I'm going to skip this line, and the remaining lines before the end of input are the checkouts data, which have been processed using this while loop from line number 24 to 28. At this point, we have processed all the input, and at this point, we are ready with the output because our output lines are already saved in the checkouts list. And then I sort the checkouts list, and here I get the output lines printed in the sorted order. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question not related to this programming, general question.
Yes.
Sir, I'm a project student, so I want to make working on a 3D heat transfer 3D modeling and all. So last time you said you talked about GitHub. So
Yes.
can you explain more how I can use it for a 3D modeling and a heat transfer for making temperature profile and all? Can you give me one
Have
any?
you? Yeah. So have you made an account in GitHub?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can start a new repository there, and in the new repository, you can keep your code so that. So what operating system you're using?
Windows.
Okay. So to commit, I mean, so in GitHub, uh, so you have a local copy where you are writing your project, where you are constructing uh, the codes. Okay. So these, so I mean, so you have installed Python and you're writing your programs, and you have a number of programs that constitutes your project in your local machine, in your computer, in your laptop.
I am
Now,
using a Spider for Python programs and all.
okay, but it is there in your local copy. Like I cannot see it. Nobody else can see it. Whoever has access to your machine can see it. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So now you want to give it to the GitHub server. GitHub server means there is some computer that GitHub is maintaining. So you have to commit. So when you commit, so there is a git commit command. So there is a very nice book on Git. So you have to read this manual on Git. So there you will see how you can uh, commit your code. That means you can transfer your code into the GitHub server, and then it will be visible to everybody whom you want it to show. So if somebody goes to your GitHub repository, they will be able to show, and they will be able to contribute also if you want to collaborate with others. So how
Okay.
you can use, yeah. So you read this nice book on, so just write Git manual in Google and you will get a nice PDF on how to use Git. You will get more details there.
My guide suggested in GitHub you will get one Muse like multi-physics object-oriented simulation environment. He said there is a heat transfer because I am doing in thermal imaging. So related to thermal imaging, I want to make 3D modeling how the heat transferring layer by layer. I have to find it how the diffusion is going on like that. That's my project. So he said there is one multi-physics object-oriented simulation is there. They already developed the script and all, and the 3D modeling is there. But I don't know. I am new to this field, so I don't know how this is working and all. So that's why I asked. Thank you, sir.
So I think that what your guide is suggesting is there is already some repository where
Yes,
there
yes.
is some existing code and you can look at that code. So find out that repository, then you can search by the name of that repository and you can see the existing code and you can try to understand it. Of course, it takes time. It will take you a lot of time to understand what people have done. And it is possible to clone. Clone means you can copy from GitHub to your local machine, whatever code that they have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Raw data and copies are there. I saw it before, but I don't know how it works and all. That's why I asked.
So to know everything, all your doubts will be cleared if you read that book, Git
Manual.
manual.
Okay, sir.
Yes, there's a nice PDF. It used to be there some time ago, maybe 7, 8 years ago when I had read it, or maybe even before,
Sir,
maybe 10
any
years
other
ago.
3D modeling software is there? Somehow I heard about the COMSOL multiphysics. That is also a software for 3D modeling and all. But it's not uh,
So you are a
just
BSc physics student.
MSc.
Okay. So I have very little knowledge about how to do simulation in physics. But
Okay.
I think such questions are very well answered by Google. You can spend like 2, 3 hours on Google and you will have all the data about what people have already done in terms of simulation
I
in
searched in
programming.
YouTube and all, but in the programming field, I am very new. So actually, I don't getting. I am only in the learning stage. That's why.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I understand.
MATLAB is one of the software that makes mathematical models, I think. You can search for the MATLAB if it can do so.
MATLAB, we don't have a license in my current working place, so that's why I can't use MATLAB. Okay,
You
sir.
might be
Thank you.
able to tell. All right.
Sir, it's a little bit out of context, but still, there are few of my friends whose documents are not verified yet. Like for the
Documents meaning?
we have submitted few documents and it must be verified within few working days, but they're
Mhm.
not still verified. So will it
Okay.
be a problem? Like,
Okay. So did they write any email to NPTEL?
yes, sir, there's a website, or I mean, there's a mail like NPTEL support
Uh-huh.
something. So they've
Oh,
written to it and they replied that we'll get back to you soon, that they'll be
okay.
verified, but there's no still.
I have no clue how to help you because I am only responsible for the problem solving sessions. In such situations, when mails don't work, I generally call. So if there's a phone number, call. And if that doesn't work, in that case, I will go to IIT Madras and ask if that is feasible. But
Sir.
in such situations, you have to always make decisions where the benefits outweigh the costs. So that much I can say.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
You can
All
directly
right.
ask your coworkers who have completed their thing in this concept, which
I didn't get it.
no, the suggestion is that she's saying that she's new to this concept, right? So even her coworkers or colleagues or the
Okay,
people
okay.
she's working with are also new, so group they can be in a group or and they can discuss about the problem and they can easily solve. They'll be easily solved in a group, right?
I see.
Sir, one more thing regarding this GitHub you are telling, right? I wonder why other users are interested in our project and finding solution. Why they need to, uh, spend their time to find solution
There are
for us.
some open source projects, and the philosophy of open source is that you don't charge people for using your software, and these are generally licensed under free licenses like GNU licenses. So they're like-minded people. They want to work on or collaborate on some project. They are interested in working together. That's how it happens. Sort of, it progresses uh, organically.
So it should be more interesting, right?
Yes,
Like
yes, yes,
if it's a learning project or basic project, that may
yes,
not
yes,
be, inspire others to join.
yes, yes, yes. That is true.
Sir, I have one more question about GitHub. You said other programmers can collaborate with our program. Then, if we writing one journal paper, so we have to mention the GitHub and all. So, for some programmers already collaborated with us, so we should give them authorship to our journal or not. They will ask it if we model it through GitHub through our project and all. We model it and he transfer. We got the output and but they already collaborated, so our authorship will divided to them and or
So you have to discuss with the other stakeholders what is their expectation. If their expectation is authorship, so these things are sort of more uh, depends on negotiation how you decide the terms and conditions. So if before starting itself you have taken their permission and you have discussed this, there should be clarity on who gets authorship and who doesn't before starting the work. And if it is not discussed, you have to discuss it before you publish it or before you submit.
okay, sir.
Sir, I have a general doubt.
Yes.
Sir, so I was 3 weeks back, means I have completed till week 3. So my week 4 and 5 is left, and we have to submit on 27 the assignment number 5. So how can
Mhm.
I catch up with it?
Okay. So what is your comfort level with the first 3 weeks? Are you comfortable?
Yes, sir, I know the basics, means control structures and all.
Then 4 and 5, did you attend the last time the session that I organized?
No, sir, actually I am attending this first time as my regular engineering lectures in college are from morning to evening.
Okay, okay. So all these sessions I am recording and putting on YouTube. So you can watch from the YouTube video. You can just skip things because I'm going slow. Whatever is relevant, you can watch if you like. This uh, problem solving sessions are supposed to help you. In fact, the other two TS they have also recorded and put on YouTube. So that way you can do things fast. Probably, I don't know. I'm not sure what is the right way to go, but this is one suggestion. If you have time,
Okay.
if you don't have time, then you have to do other things. Depends on how much time you have and
Okay,
depends
then,
on your
sir.
expertise.
Okay, sir. Then can you give the YouTube link or the channel where the videos are stored?
Yes, you have to go to this website. You go to the website, you go to your course. You go to the particular course, and here on the where is it? I have to zoom out. Yeah. You scroll down and the end you will see problem solving session January 2025. Here you click on problem solving session recording and it opens a new page. You click here to view problem solving sessions, and you see all the three TAs have updated the sessions YouTube links. So this is corresponding to me, this is corresponding to the other two. All right.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. I think if there are no more questions, we can close the day today. I'll see you again next Monday.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.